tonight's big stories. Newly appointed Presidential Advisor for Poverty Alleviation, Larry Gadon, has been unanimously disbarred by the Supreme Court over his viral video back in 2021. Despite this, Malacanang says Gadon's appointment stays.
Well, it's been more fun in the Philippines. Now, it's time to love the Philippines more as the Tourism Department changes its decades-old campaign slogan.
And the partnership continues for TV5 and ABS-CBN as the two networks sign a fresh 5-year deal. What else can we expect from the two media companies?
Welcome to the show. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Gretchen Ho.
And I'm Sean Yao.
Well, fresh off his appointment as Presidential Advisor on Poverty Alleviation, Larry Gadon has been unanimously disbarred by the Supreme Court over a viral video where he is seen hurling expletives against a journalist. Journalist Raisa Robles had criticized then presidential candidate Bongbong Marcos for failing to file income tax returns during his stint as Ilocos Norte governor from 1982 to 1985. Now, this resulted in a conviction that was used to file multiple disqualification cases against the president during the 2022 elections. Gadon fired back at Robles in a video back in December 2021, disparaging her in a slew of expletives and insults, even suggesting that she engaged in intercourse with a dog. Robles filed libel, cyber libel, and violation of the Safe Spaces Act complaints against Gadon on February 2022 over the remarks. The Supreme Court then ordered the preventive suspension of Gadon.
But in its latest decision, the High Court voted 15-0 to disbar Gadon for cursing and uttering profane remarks against Robles. The court also said that the video was indisputably scandalous, that it discredits the legal profession. Aside from this, there are also 6 pending administrative complaints against Gadon in the Office of the Bar Confidant. Gadon also has 4 similar complaints filed against him in the Commission on Bar Discipline of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines. Despite the Supreme Court's decision, Gadon said that the disbarment is of no value since he has already retired as a lawyer. Still, he plans on filing a motion to reconsider the decision.
To go along with this, Larry Gadon held his own media briefing this afternoon regarding the Supreme Court's decision. There, he maintained that he has no regrets over his remarks, which, of course, the Supreme Court described as misogynistic, sexist, and abusive. Gadon also went on saying that because President Bongbong Marcos won the elections, he was given an opportunity to serve the country once more as the Presidential Advisor on Poverty Alleviation. He also denied that his appointment as Presidential Advisor is a form of political accommodation after backing Marcos during his election campaign. The palace has already assured that the disbarment of Gadon would not affect his new role in government. But for those that are hoping that Malacanang would reconsider, Gadon had this to say.
And yung sa mga critics naman, yung mga nagsasabi na dapat daw ay bawiin yung aking appointment, maging presidente muna sila. Kung congressman ka lang, muli, lalo pa party list ka lang, tumahimik ka.
Journalist Raisa Robles, meanwhile, thanked the Supreme Court for its decision to disbar Gadon. But she notes that her legal team will continue to pursue Safe Spaces Act violation and cyber libel cases against Gadon. Robles also called on law experts to look into the reasons why her cases were thrown out twice by Quezon City prosecutors. Robles added that she has kept silent on her cases for over a year, something she described as quite difficult for a journalist. Still, Robles says she understands that the legal processes have to take due course and that these must be respected.
Now, here to give us their take on Larry Gadon's disbarment, we have with us live via Zoom Integrated Bar of the Philippines President, Attorney Bert Estrada. Attorney Estrada, good evening. Thanks for joining us on the big story.
Good evening.
Right away, I wanted to ask you, can I have your reaction, please, regarding the Supreme Court's very unanimous decision? And here, I want to also recall that over the last several years, there have been a number of disbarment petitions filed with the IBP by various people against Mr. Gadon. So your reaction, please, to today's decision.
Yes, as I told our staff, I have just landed and returned to the Philippines, and has received this news of the disbarment of Larry Gadon. This comes as one of the developments, one of the very first cases that the court will have decided on, based on our new code of professional responsibility and accountability, as well as a very specific provision in our code of conduct pertaining to acts of lawyers the need to maintain propriety and decorum even in our online presence. So it will also serve as a guide to many of our members as we are now becoming more present in online spaces, not just in courts and physical hearings.
Attorney Bert, do you have any data? Like, how often do lawyers actually get disbarred? For that matter, Attorney Gadon actually did point out, and I believe that he does have a point when it comes to this. He said, you know, a lot of lawyers also do scandalous things in their private lives. What do you have to say about that?
Well, in the integrated bar, because it's one way where complainants can file petitions, unlike this case where the court motu proprio took cognizance of, there are about 30 to 40 disbarment cases filed every month. But out of that, I think we have an average of about 10, 5 to 10 disbarments a year. Others are just meted with suspensions or admonition, and many are dismissed for being a mere harassment suits. With that last part of your statement that there are other lawyers, yes, there might be. There would have been more lawyers. So that's why the court has been very consistent in saying, especially in the caravans that were conducted by the Supreme Court in introducing our new code of conduct, that lawyers have to be very circumspect in using social media and in posting that we always maintain propriety and we act in accordance with the dignity of our profession to maintain the people's trust in the legal profession and in our legal system.
Okay.
So that would this case because the resolution, the decision, has not yet been made available, but we will be studying that, and I'm sure many other our members will be reading upon it, and hopefully it will serve as a guide to remind our members, all lawyers, to maintain propriety even in our online presence.
Okay, Attorney Bert, bilang nabanggit niyo na rin, no, lawyers have to be circumspect about what they post online. Ano po ibig sabihin nun? What can serve as grounds for disbarment? Kapag, kung wari ako ay lawyer, nagmura ako online, can that be, grounds for disbarment? Because meron din, like for example, kanina nabanggit sa isang report, Attorney Berteni Kausing got disbarred when he posted a draft plunder complaint. There were also lawyers who posted about judges being easily bribed. So ano po ba yung what would serve as grounds?
Yeah, as I said, because our code of conduct is very new, and because the phenomenon of the social media phenomenon is also very new, we do not have I don't see a very hard and fast rule on what will constitute as a violation. But what is the fundamental principle here is that lawyers must always maintain uh, the dignity of our profession, and we cannot be engaging in scandalous conduct and act with impropriety, because as a lawyer, one who is an officer of the court, you have to maintain that propriety and that image of propriety, because it affects the people's perception of the legal profession and our entire legal system. And when people lose confidence in our legal system, in our profession, then that is very dangerous for our democratic society. If people lose trust in our legal system.
Alright, balik tayo sa kaso ni Attorney Gadon, no? Attorney Bert. Supreme Court on bank has already decided 15-0, unanimous. May point pa ba mag-file ng motion for reconsideration itong si Attorney Gadon bilang unanimous na nga yung decision ng on bank?
That would be up to his legal team, but it's 15. So it's a unanimous. Then, in all honesty, it's highly improbable that they will do that. But of course, if that might be an available remedy yet for them, it's really up to their legal team.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us, IBP President Attorney Bert Estrada.
Unconstitutional. That's the Supreme Court's ruling on the law postponing the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections. The High Court says the law postponing the BSK elections from the initial schedule of December 5, 2022 to the last Monday of October this year violates the freedom of suffrage. They note that the law failed to satisfy the requirements of due process under the Constitution. The SC also found that there was no legitimate government interest or objective to support the legislative measure. The court says the law also exceeds the bounds of the Congress's power to legislate. Now, despite these, the court still recognized the legal practicality and necessity to proceed with the elections that are now set on the last Monday of October. Senators are now studying whether they should appeal this decision. Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman Francis Tolentino notes that the ruling shortens the term of the officials that will be elected this October to just around 2 years.
But we respect the decision of the Supreme Court as a co-equal branch of government. We agree that there should be periodic elections. Napahaba yung postponement ng barangay.
Well, after the October BSK elections, the question becomes, when exactly will the succeeding ones be held? And how does the Supreme Court plan to deal with future measures seeking to postpone elections? Marian Enriquez tells us more. Marian?
Reg, the Supreme Court has ruled that succeeding barangay and SK elections shall be held on the first Monday of December 2025 and every 3 years after that. The High Court has also set guidelines for future government action seeking to postpone elections. The SC says the postponement of the elections must be justified by reasons that are important, substantial, and compelling, like a public emergency. They say reasons like election fatigue or other superficial reasons will not be considered. Reg.
Thanks for that update, Marian Enriquez.
Okay guys, ito pa. Hindi rin ito mapopostpone, hindi rin natin mapapaaga. It's the El Nino, and while we wait for the official declaration from Pag-asa, the agency has identified areas that will most likely bear the brunt. Pag-asa says dry conditions could prevail in 28 provinces, and these are the yellow-coded areas that you're seeing on your screens right now. So you have northern Luzon's provinces like Cagayan, Central Visayas, the Zamboanga Peninsula, and Bangsamoro provinces in Mindanao. Dry conditions refer to 2 consecutive months of below normal rainfall, while a dry spell would mean 3 straight months of below normal rainfall. All these areas in orange will likely experience that. You have the Ilocos region, Central Luzon, Calabarzon, Metro Manila, Mimaropa, Iloilo, and Leyte. Camarines Sur and Southern Leyte could also experience drought, which could last for up to 5 months. Pag-asa says this forecast is still subject to change. However, it could serve as a starting point for LGUs in preparing for the El Nino that is expected to hit soon.
Titingnan din natin uli kung ano ba yung mga probinsya ang still in-expect natin na may kakulangan sa ulan. Doon natin i-reassess uli ito yung mga probinsya. Pwede madagdagan o pwede mabawasan base din sa magiging kondisyon, recent condition ng ating tropical Pacific kasi doon nagmumula yung ating El Nino.
So how soon can we expect Pag-asa to declare the onset of the El Nino? We have mobile journalist Francis Orsho to give us updates. Go ahead, Francis.
Sean, Pag-asa is still waiting for weather conditions to hit other parameters. We know that an El Nino condition is already present in the tropical Pacific region, so it's still wait and see at this point. Pag-asa says officials and the public can use the time to prepare, especially for worst-case scenarios such as rainfall conditions falling below 60%, which would prove to be destructive for our agriculture and the economy. The El Niño is expected to last until the first quarter of next year, and any extension beyond that could mean serious trouble for the Philippines. Sean?
Thanks for that, Francis.
All right, we're going to pause for a quick one, but, well, it's goodbye to It's More Fun in the Philippines. Now it's time to love the Philippines. We'll discuss the country's new tourism slogan when we return. Keep it here on One News.
You're watching the big story here on One News. Well, ladies, this one's a hot topic online. The country's new tourism slogan, Love the Philippines. What do you guys think?
Well,
Love nyo ba?
Love ko yung Pilipinas.
Well, that's right.
There's
The
a lot
Philippines
of-
is now retiring the It's More Fun in the Philippines slogan after a decade. 10 years na pala yun, no? The new tagline was unveiled during the Tourism Department's 50th anniversary celebration on Tuesday. Now, the agency said they chose this slogan because it captures the many things to love about the country, from food and tourist destinations to the rich and vibrant Filipino culture.
Love the Philippines is a recognition of our natural assets, our storied history, our rich culture and diversity. There is so much more to the Philippines than the fun and adventure that we have so far articulated to the world.
President Marcos himself expressed support for the new slogan.
It springs from the genuine love that you, me, and all of us have for the Philippines. This is new branding which we unveiled today. It will serve as our guidepost for the Philippine tourism industry moving forward.
Well, it got a lot of reactions online. Mayroong mga
My Facebook is
criticism,
blowing up
diba?
because of the new
May
slogan.
nagsasabi, pinag-isipan ba talaga to? Oo, nag-comment niya ako. Sabi ko, mahirap kasi magmahal.
May nagsabi nga sa akin.
Parang that came from somewhere deep.
Lalim ng hugot ni Gretchen
sinabi ng
today.
mga netizens na wag mo kong utusang magmahal. Kasi pag sinabi mo,
kasi
love
parang
the Philippines
action.
naman.
Oo.
Di ba? Parang
Parang
begging
you're
for
pleading
love.
for
Parang
love.
begging,
Yeah.
pleading, or yun nga, nanguutos, di ba?
Okay, we're
Pero
seeing
kasi,
some of the reactions on the screen right now.
yun nga, ito kasi, medyo mahirap din kasing talunin yung It's More Fun in the Philippines.
I really like that.
I really, really like that. I think we all agreed that we all love that.
Let's take a look back, right? So 11 years na pala to, It's More Fun in the Philippines.
Yes, since Pinoy time.
2002 is the exact. Oh, sorry. Before It's More Fun in the Philippines, there was Wow Philippines, which was
That was my old favorite.
which was conceptualized by former Tourism
Yes.
Secretary Dick
Gordon.
Gordon in 2002.
Yes.
Under the Arroyo administration, then it became It's More Fun in the Philippines. I
Yes,
wonder if we
during
have that
President,
slogan.
that
There
was
you go, Wow
during,
Philippines.
Pinoy's time under former Tourism Secretary Mon Jimenez, who
Correct.
of course we all know is also an advertising bigwig. He is a
Correct.
very
He's a creative
respected-
genius.
Yes.
So then it became It's More Fun in the Philippines in 2012. And then,
But then remember what
there's
happened.
a lot of different versions of this.
It's More Fun in the Philippines. They released the fonts for everyone
Yes,
to use. And that's why everyone
exactly.
ran away with the campaign. This was the original version. I think initially, I remember people were not so happy with the banig looking Philippines map. But everyone had fun because they could download
Yes.
the fonts.
So they personalized
Tapos
it. So
iba-iba,
talagang,
no, per province.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Which-
then, na naging President Duterte na after Pinoy, nagkaroon ng before Secretary Romulo Puyat, it was Secretary Wanda Tulfo-Teo. She tried to change it.
And there was huge backlash.
Yes,
Yes.
people were protesting
Everyone
against because
was
people love
angry.
It's More Fun in the Philippines.
Correct.
Yeah.
So she
was replaced.
So she
by-
aborted that plan to replace it. That's
yes.
right.
And then nagsorry pa yung agency,
oh,
di
correct.
ba?
Because it looked very much like the ad
South
for South
Africa.
Africa.
Parang why
Correct.
change something that's working?
Yes.
And then when they changed the secretaries, I think Secretary Berna, she retained It's More Fun in the Philippines, and then she just kind of like ran away with it and did more videos and stuff. So it kept being viral. Although sabi ni current Tourism Secretary Frasco, medyo bumababa na raw yung hits.
Baka kasi palalim ng palalim from wow to It's More Fun to love. Diba pwede?
Maybe.
I mean, come on, love us. Love the Philippines. I mean, in defense, minsan kasi gumagana rin sa advertising to be very simple.
Correct.
And clear
Yes.
about your message or
Yes.
what your brand is all
Correct.
about.
Yeah.
She
And
also
it's such a
pointed out,
universal
Yeah.
emotion word, right?
Yeah, I think to ape what Secretary Frasco said, she said, it's a different time now. It's post-pandemic. Everyone around the region is like, wrestling for tourists right now. And
Yes, in
everyone has
Southeast
been
Asia,
changing
that's right.
their slogans.
That's right. There's a mad rush to try to get that Southeast Asia revenge travel to get a slice of that pie. You're right. So time will tell if
I
this
wonder
slogan
how-
will do it.
Yeah, I wonder how that puts us above the rest. I mean,
Yeah,
it
I
is
guess-
universal, as you mentioned.
I think the metric here will be tourist arrivals, right? So we'll find out.
We'll find out,
We'll find
indeed.
out.
All right, moving on now. The Finance Department is hoping to sweeten its plan to impose higher taxes on sugary drinks by allowing liberalized sugar importation. Finance Chief Ben Jokno said they're pushing for direct sugar importation for industrial users so that they can balance out the interests of both producers and consumers. Jokno said locally produced sugar is now 4 times more expensive compared to prices in the world market. He added that importing sugar would not only be a reasonable compromise for manufacturers, it would also help in easing price hikes in sugar products. The DOF plans to increase the tax for sweetened beverages to 12 pesos per liter.
Pag tinaasan mo yung tax on sugary products, aangal naman yung industriya, hindi ba? And so sabi ko, as a sweetener, we will allow them siguro na mag-angkat ng yung pangangailangan lang nila.
And it will take a little bit of time before the Philippine government manages to repatriate the 3 Filipinos who were recently given granted pardon in the United Arab Emirates. The Foreign Affairs Department said that they are still sorting out the paperwork needed to get the 3 OFWs back home. President Marcos made the request to pardon the 3 Filipinos to UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. 2 of the convicted OFWs would still be on death row if it wasn't for the granted pardon.
Wala po tayong definite time frame, but we're hoping in the next month or so, aayusin na yung kanilang mga papeles at na makauwi na. Marami naman tayo mga kababayan ang napardon na sa UAE in the past, and usually it takes about a month or even less bago sila mapauwi talaga dito sa Pilipinas.
So we're expecting a month, maybe less, before these pardoned Filipinos get to go home. But how likely can the Philippine government speed things along? We have mobile journalist Julie Baiza to answer that. Julie?
Rach, we have to note that these 2 OFWs who were previously on death row were convicted for drug trafficking. So for countries like the UAE, which has zero tolerance policy for drugs, this is quite a sensitive case. But the DFA says other attached agencies like the OWA, the Department of Migrant Workers, and the DSWD will be extending help to all 3 pardoned Pinoys once they return here in the Philippines. The DFA says there are still other Filipinos awaiting their sentence in UAE, all of whom have been provided with legal assistance by the Philippine government. Gretch?
Thank you very much, Julie.
After the break, fishermen in General Santos City are having a hard time with their catch of yellowfin tuna. Local officials are now looking to reinstate a fishing agreement with Indonesia to try and address the matter. More details when we return.
Welcome back. You're still watching the big story here on One News.
Nakakain na tayo dito ng tampal puke. But are you guys, fans of yellowfin tuna?
Oh, yes. Of course. It's yummy.
Oh, well, we see a lot of cans of those in the grocery. Well, but just recently, the General Santos City Fishport Management is urging government to reinstate the fishing agreement with Indonesia to allow Filipino fishermen to resume fishing in the area. Some fishermen noted that the number of catches of large, mature yellowfin tuna has significantly declined. Now, as a result, there has been a significant decrease in tuna sales at the General Santos City Fishport. The Fishport Management said that the situation started after the bilateral fishing agreement between Indonesia and the Philippines ended. Now, because of this, Filipino fishermen are no longer able to fish in the exclusive economic zone of Indonesia in the Celebes Sea, which is reportedly full of mature yellowfin tuna.
Yes, at saka bawal na talaga tayong mag-cross dun sa border going to Indonesia kasi wala na nga tayong agreement with them. So, since nag-failure yun sa agreement, so we go to the initiative of the Congen based in Davao.
With this decline in fishermen's catch, how is our supply of large tuna being managed? Let's find out from Elaine Fulgencio. Elaine, what do you have for us tonight?
Sean, according to the Jensen Fishport, they have already engaged with Indonesia for the supply of tuna to the Philippines for the meantime. They also assured that the limited supply of large mature tuna has no significant impact on the overall supply and price. They mentioned that it is mainly restaurants and those involved in processing of tuna who use it. If we talk about regular tuna, it is reported that around 260,000 metric tons of tuna are unloaded at the Fishport. That is equivalent to 260 million kilograms of tuna per year. At present, the Jensen Fishport has observed a slight increase in the catch of large tuna in the past 2 weeks. They are hoping that this trend will continue. Sean?
Thanks for that, Elaine.
Now, even after the recent noontime buzz, TV5 and ABS-CBN will continue with their content partnership. The two networks signed a fresh 5-year deal which allows the Kapatid Network to continue airing ABS-CBN shows. These include primetime teleseries like FPJ's Batang Quiapo and Dirty Linen. MediaQuest Chair Manny Pangilinan and ABS-CBN Chair Mark Lopez were present to formalize the extended content agreement. TV5 also says that there's a lot to watch out for in this extended 5-year deal.
We're very happy to sign this new agreement for the next 5 years. I think it's a partnership which we've been very happy with, and I think there are a lot of opportunities that we can do together.
So, but that's only the tip of the iceberg because we're also working with ABS-CBN for mga co-prod for the afternoon and just continue to develop really good content together.
Right, we're running out of time, but let's not forget why we're all on holiday tonight. Let's check out our big picture for tonight. Filipino Muslims gather in prayer over at the Quirino Grandstand in Manila to observe al-Adha, or the Festival of the Sacrifice. On June 13, Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, on behalf of President Bongbong Marcos, signed Proclamation 258 designating the feast as a nationwide holiday. al-Adha is the second Islamic holiday in the country. The holiday honors Abraham's compliance when he was ordered to sacrifice his son Ishmael, whose life was eventually spared when Allah sent a ram to be offered in his place.
So, Eid Mubarak to all of our Muslim friends who are celebrating.
Well, looks like you guys had a holiday today.
Yes, we did.
With your partners here in the studio.
We brought our families to work.
Bring your family to work day pala today.
Yes, it is. Shout out to
Java
the guys
Chef?
and to Georgie.
Okay. Right, happy Eid to everyone. And that's it for the show tonight.
We are on news all sides all the time.
Thanks for tuning in and have a good night.